Hello everyone, my name is Sudhir Mata. I'm the VP of Products here at Juniper's AI-driven enterprise. I just wanted to tell you my story of how actually I joined Mist. There was one particular incident that made me join Mist, and sort of why I'm particularly passionate about the K-12 and just Wi-Fi in schools per se. So September of 2015, about 5 years ago, my local superintendent of school district called me and said, Sudhir, the network you sold us, teachers are complaining that half the students can't get on the network, right? So, after some escalations, they said, no, you got to be on site. This has to be tackled, this weekend. And so we had 7 engineers from the partner, 4 of us from Cisco, 4 from the customer, 15 of us, 30 laptops. We went classroom to classroom in elementary, in middle school and high school. And every classroom we went to, the teachers were like, wow, thank goodness you're here. Half my students can't get on the class. But just like when you go to the doctor, when we were in the classroom, the problems were not happening, right? So at 4 o'clock in the debrief with Dr. Nicholas and the school district team, they asked us, okay, so what did you find out? And candidly, my response was, we couldn't reproduce the problem. And personally, I would say Wi-Fi networks, it's terrible. 15 years after Wi-Fi was born, we're still sending, 15 people around to gather packet captures in classrooms. This is painfully manual, and we were chasing ghosts. The problems were real because the students and teachers were complaining, but we just could not capture the problem when it was happening. Literally 2 weeks later, I quit Cisco. I asked Sujay, do you still have a job for me? Because I am now convinced we do need a new generation of wireless networks. The current gen just can't get the job done, right? And so that's how I joined Mist. That's how my journey to Mist has started. If it wasn't for that troubleshooting incident, I was sort of pretty happy where I was. So let's dive into why some of the largest school districts in the country, just large companies around the world, are coming to Juniper Mist. If you are in the final throes of your E-rate RFP decision, you have to listen to the next few minutes just to understand. And I'm not going to convince you in a 10-minute video that Juniper Mist is the right solution for you. But what I'm hoping to do is that you ask for a demo, that you ask for a POC if you have time. And if you have time for none of that, if you do not have time to do a POC, if you do not have time for a Mist demo, just speak to our customers. They will tell you how this has been a transformative experience for them. They all have been buying Cisco, Aruba, Meraki, Aerohive, Ruckus in K-12. They've bought all of that. And once they come to Juniper Mist, they've been the happiest they ever have been running a K-12 network. Here are the few reasons why. Absolute number one is what you are buying as part of this network is a platform, right? The network you're buying today is the network you're going to run for the next 5 to 7 years. It is going to be your life. It's going to be. So don't you want this network to be like a Netflix and not like an old school DVD player and VCR player? I know you know how to operate a controller, but that doesn't mean you got to buy one. So one of the fundamental foundational things that we did at Mist when we first started is we had to get the architecture right. Randy Fry, our VP of engineering, Bob Friday with his vision, we got the foundation of our architecture right. Consequently, today we are the only networking player to this day that we are doing feature updates to the cloud literally every week, right? Some days, some weeks we are doing, infrastructure upgrades. Many weeks we are doing feature updates, but without upgrading your controller, without upgrading your APs, every Wednesday, we say Christmas comes every Wednesday at Mist, and you will see. So you need a platform that if Apple suddenly creates an issue for you on campus with a new iOS update, instantly you need to be able to get a patch out, not old school firmware upgrades like the old times, right? A network that is improving every single day is a Juniper Mist network. The next thing is Every student matters. Every student's experience matters, right? If the student was taking an exam and it was just one student in one classroom and his Wi-Fi dropped, what are you going to tell them? So we are the first and truly only network offering for K-12 where every user, every minute, we have a picture of their experience. We have all the parameters to collate their experience. And so every user, every minute, a Meraki network doesn't do this, an Aruba network doesn't do this, a Cisco network doesn't do this, a Mist Juniper network does. The service levels that we bring to bear are game-changing for K-12. Next, one truism in K-12 across the board, it doesn't matter which country it is, doesn't matter the size of the district you are. One thing that is common to everybody that operates a school network is you don't have enough IT people. You do not have a team that actually can really wrap your arms around. You're always short-staffed, right? And so how do you deal with an expanding expanse of more users, more devices, more applications, more bandwidth, and more trouble tickets every single day without expanding your team? You bring an AI assistant to the game. Marvis is an amazing AI assistant for K-12. We have a great offer on Marvis for K-12, specifically for this E-rate season. Call us and we will let you know how an AI assistant can actually join your team to help you with the network of the next decade for you. Next up, let me take you right back to the problem that started my journey at Mist. All this thing about going to classrooms, going to auditoriums, and taking packet captures to see what is going on. That is in the past. That is in the rear view mirror. With Juniper Mist, we have something we call dynamic PCAP. That means every single time, including the first time, when there is something wrong with an association, authentication, DHCP, DNS network, we have a packet capture waiting for you. Even if you don't need it, it's there, right? That's why. So if you're waiting for problems to reoccur so you can reproduce problems in your classrooms, that's the network of the last decade. The network of the next decade has dynamic PCAP, and we are unique, and it's patented technology from us, very uniquely in the marketplace. So another thing that is so fundamental is you don't run a wireless network or a wired network or a WAN network. You run a network that offers service to teachers and students and staff, right? It's an end-to-end network. So you need an AI-driven network for wireless, for switching, for SD-WAN. We are the only game in town for sort of AI-driven Wi-Fi switching and SD-WAN together, right? So if you're buying wireless and switching, you got to look at Juniper and Mist. All of the reference customers we have in K-12, most of them have bought both switching and wireless from us. Next up, this is so important, right? Per user pre-shared keys to really enable, security at scale, but still giving a personal space and a personal bubble, if you will, for users. If your IoT devices need a pre-shared key, use a separate one. If your students need a pre-shared key, use a separate one. If a particular teacher needs a bubble, a wireless network bubble for her own classroom or his own classroom, you can use a separate key with the same SSID. And the difference between us and every other vendor that has private pre-shared key is we have this notion of a personal WLAN. No other vendor has that, and ask us for a demo for that. Next up is really this notion of when we have self-driving cars driving us, while we sit and watch, right? Why can't we have the network sort of take care of itself for basic functionality? A Juniper Mist, and only a Juniper Mist network, actually does. So when you speak to our references, when you speak to our customers, ask them, hey, how many trouble tickets did you used to get with your legacy network? And when you replace the same number of APs, how many do you get today? Right? Many times you will see there is a 50, 60, 70% reduction in the number of support tickets coming in to help desk. while we have used the exact same location for the exact same number of APs. An AI-driven self-driving network is game-changing in that regard. Next up is an ability, you may say, Sudhir, this sounds really good. This sounds exciting. We want to get the network of the next decade from Juniper Mist, but I am time crunched. I don't have time to understand and learn, another operating system or another system. Here's the good news. We have amazing auto provisioning on Wi-Fi and switching. Just for example, let's say you're talking about switching networks with the Juniper EX switches and the Mist Cloud. When you plug in any Ethernet device, any switch, any IoT port, any sensor, we will auto detect, and you can set rules to say, hey, based on this MAC address, based on this LLDP name, based on this radius attribute, we want it to have this profile on that port without requiring an ICE or a ClearPass or radius servers. Natively, just the switch and the cloud, we enable dynamic port provisioning. On the AP side, you plug in an AP, it will auto detect which school site it is at and get the right configuration and start beaconing in under 45 seconds. Everything. Plug it in, get power, boot up, connect to the cloud, get the right configuration, and beacon and connect clients in under 45 seconds. No other network does anything like that, right? Next up, many of our APs, many of the APs coming from Mist Juniper that you may see in the RFP response for your E-Rate, we have this BLE antenna array, Bluetooth Low Energy Antenna Array. That's patented. That's uniquely Juniper Mist. No other vendor has that antenna array, and we don't charge extra for that antenna array per se. So in the future, if you want to enable, mobile apps or Bluetooth-based location services, it is a simple, software subscription upgrade, but natively from a hardware perspective, the BLE antenna arrays is built in. That means for the next 5 years, next 7 years, you don't need to do battery operated beacons and overlay sensor and overlay networks for location-based services, right? You can foolproof your network. You can forward-proof your network right now with location, right? So there's so many advantages here, so many things that we can do to help you. There is no way we can change your hearts and minds in a 10-minute video. But what I urge you to do, as you conclude your E-Rate RFP process, as you conclude your E-Rate RFP response, if you have a half an hour, just watch a Mist demo. You will see why 4 out of the Fortune 10 companies, some of the largest companies in the world, the largest network we run today is over 100,000 access points in one customer. We run 10,000 AP networks. We have run 1,000 AP networks. We run 100 AP networks. We run 10 AP networks, right? This is a network that elastically scales. So if you want to see a demo, that's my email, sudhir@juniper.net. Email me. I will get somebody on a demo for you right now, or I myself will do the demo for you. If you have no time for a demo, if you don't have a time for a POC, email us and we will get you on the phone with our current customers, because technically they're running the largest POCs you can. They're running their live networks. They will explain what they have seen with the Juniper Mist network. Please do give us an opportunity. It is your once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get an amazing network for you. You do not have to stick to the same old. Hopefully, we get to work with you and partner with you. Thank you very much. Stay safe, everybody.